Hello and welcome to the featured guest segment on today's Smart Chiropractor show, How to Elegantly Build an Instagram Following with Dr. Kristen Hammer. If you have not seen Kristen's Instagram page, I'm going to encourage you to check it out. We'll drop those links all over the place as well. She's been doing a great job teaching and inviting consistently on Instagram. And let's just lay it out. Last year, TikTok, juicing the algorithm, lots of view count, lots of followers. However, historically very little action or conversion to real patients in the practice. Instagram has the benefit of being a Facebook-owned or Meta-owned property, which gives far better targeting, I'm going to say better reach, true reach, and much more historic engagement. So we have seen chiropractors around the world blow up their Instagram followings to the tune of thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and yes, for some of them, millions of individuals following them. That is incredibly powerful. That is what can create a fantastic practice, and that is a platform that is awesome and yields a tremendous amount of opportunity for us as chiropractors to get our messaging out there. Kristin is one of those docs that is showing up each and every day. Jason and I had the opportunity to sit down, chat with her, understand how she approaches Instagram, and I can guarantee you're going to find some tips for your own channel and your own page on today's interview. So without further ado, here's our interview with Dr. Kristen Hammer. Hey docs, welcome to the Smart Chiropractor show and our featured guest segment. I'm Dr. Jeff Langmaid here with my co-host, Dr. Jason Deitch. And today we have Dr. Kristen Hammer. She is somebody that Jason and I came upon that is one of the best examples we've seen of somebody teaching and inviting consistently across social. Kristen, thanks for taking some time and chatting with us today.
Of course, I'm happy to be here.
Right on. And I'm going to get right to it. You do a fantastic job of doing what we call teach and invite consistently on specifically your Instagram channel, page, profile. How did you get started? What stimulated the thought that that's a place you should be posting content? Let's trace it back to when you first picked it up and made that first post or that first story.
Yeah, so I actually found a podcast somewhere. I can't even remember what it was, but it kind of just gave me insight on how leveraging your social media could help you in practice and could help you gain new patients with gaining a social media following. So I just dove into it. I actually just started it in January on my own page. So I've only been doing it for about a year, but I'd like to think that I got the hang of it now. And I really love it. It's really fun.
That is awesome. You've got thousands of followers. We'll put your links in the show notes so people can follow you as well. But for this conversation, I'd like them to follow your lead, not just follow your profile. Tell us about your journey. I mean, a lot of chiropractors are intimidated by this. They think, I'm late to the party, and, there's already people that have thousands of followers, millions of views, gazillions of likes, There's no room for me anymore. And yet, you said you started a year ago. You've already got several thousand. What was your mindset and what was the journey like? I know everybody likes immediate gratification. I'm assuming day 2 or 3, you didn't have thousands of followers. Help people understand the reality of the journey and why it's worth it.
Right. Yeah. So obviously when you start your page, you start from scratch. And so that's a little scary because you're like, who's going to want to listen to me? I'm a chiropractor. I'm not doing beauty tips. I'm not sharing some really awesome, mom videos, which are hilarious and can gain bazillion followers overnight. Chiropractic's definitely a harder niche to get your following because, a lot of people don't care about chiropractic, to be honest. And so you have to get them to care about it. And you can do that by giving them value that can help their life. You can do that by entertaining them, by sharing of yourself and being open and vulnerable about who you are. Because what I've found over this journey in the last year is that people want to go to somebody that they know and they like and they trust. And there's no, in my opinion, better way to do that than on Instagram, because you really get to show your followers who you are And at the same time, you get to sneak in there all this chiropractic knowledge that they don't know they're about to get, because they just think like, I like that person, I want to follow her, she's local, because that's really your goal, is to find local people. It's not about getting 1 million followers, because those followers mean nothing if they're not coming into your practice. So you just, basically my journey has been figuring out how to go about getting a following that is local, that knows, likes, and trusts me, and eventually wants to come and see me.
I think that is a fantastic way to go about it. We talk about, I mentioned it a few moments ago, teach and invite consistently. That's sort of the framework that we do with the Smart Chiropractor, and many of our members receive monthly campaigns, weekly topics, and daily posts. How do you think about content? You do a great job, as you said, educating, engaging, entertaining at times. How do you think about content production? Do you think in terms of percentages, in terms of days of the week? How do you plan out what you're going to do?
Yeah, so there's 2 ways to do Instagram. And one is like your type A, plan everything out. There's like Instagram calendars out there where you can literally plan content for months in advance. And then if you're like me, I'm a business owner. They say what most business owners are like C students. And so, I was like a B, but I am not a plan ahead person. So that just doesn't work for me at all. I am a creative kind of entrepreneur mindset. So for me, I see information, I see something, an audio, a video, a post that I think would be valuable, or I think of something that would be valuable. I jot it down in a little notebook in my phone, and then I come back to it later, and then I use it as I go. For me, I plan content out. I wouldn't even say I like plan it. I more like grab ideas and do it. Like I'm just a doer. Like, but you can totally plan it if that is your personality, and that's great. I wish I was that way, but I'm just not. So for me, I would hate doing it if I had to plan it and like brainstorm and do all this stuff. So for me, it's on the spot. I use my creativity when it comes to me. So hopefully that answered the question. Sometimes I go on tangents.
No, absolutely. And it looks like you're having fun. And I think that's kind of part of it. I got a lot of questions about how, but before we get into more details about how you're coming up with content and so on, let's sort of cut to the chase. I think most listeners are probably thinking to themselves, which is, okay, you go through all this stuff, whether it's planning or it's spontaneous, and is it worth it? I mean, what kind of feedback do you get? New patients, which I think is what every chiropractor wants to know. Does it work? Is it worth your time? What would you say to chiropractors about that? I can only imagine you don't keep doing it if it doesn't.
Right. I probably would, because I do love doing it, but that's just my personality. Not everybody's going to have my personality. But absolutely, it's been amazing for my practice. It's the best thing I have ever done, and kind of the easiest, because again, this type of thing comes easy to me. It doesn't come easy to everyone, I don't think. But so it might not be the easiest for everyone, but it's really fun to do. And okay, go back to that question. What was the actual question? Here I go again.
Well, I think a lot of chiropractors are wondering, am I going to get more new patients if I do this? And if I expand a little more, just to get into, deeper into it, and this is sort of to follow up on Jeff's question too, as it relates to content. You discuss sort of, I'm spontaneous versus a planner, but also, as I look, help people understand, obviously these are a lot of pictures of yourself. And some chiropractors would either say, well, I'm not that good looking, or I'm too shy, I'm introverted, or why is a picture of me going to teach someone else about chiropractic? So I think we know that there's a relationship building process. You don't have to start with, hi, I'm a chiropractor, you want to buy chiropractic care. You can start with, hey, nice to meet you, it's a great day, and sort of invite them in to want to learn more. So, would you share kind of how you think about what type of content you produce? And, every day is not buy chiropractic day.
The biggest thing that I'll say is you want to find your niche. And so there's chiropractors out there that are totally neurological based and focus on the brain. And so they post a lot of content about that. For me, I try to meet my patients where they are. Even though I'm more of a principled chiropractor, I focus a lot on my page about what patients think chiropractic is, and that is like the back pain, the neck pain, things like that. So I will focus in on what they want to hear about or what they'll accept the most. And that's just my philosophy on doing it. Everybody can do what they want. But that's where I focus in, is meeting the patient where they're at. And then I sneakily kind of throw some philosophy in there sometimes and like woe them with like, oh, chiropractic is more than just back pain. And that's what's kind of nice about Instagram, is you can gain a following, and then once they trust you and they know you, then you can expand and teach them more as you go. But you always want to return back to the base of what your focus of your page is, because you're always going to be getting new followers. And so it is a lot of repeat content, because you want to make sure that your main message is still in the forefront of your page.
Yeah. Revisiting those greatest hits is a great tactical tip. You know, you don't have to reinvent the wheel consistently. You know, if somebody resonates today, they might resonate with it again next month, next year, and utilizing those high value content pieces can be incredibly impactful. Consistency is one of the keys to success. You show that through your page. There's no question about that. How do you stay consistent? What's sort of your mindset? You seem like a very positive person. How do you get out of being concerned with the haters and, growth metrics? And how do you stay positive and consistent with it day in and day out? Do you have any mindset practices each and every day, or is it just a natural disposition?
It's definitely a natural disposition for me. I mean, in college, I bartended through school, and I had people call me Dr. Smiley. So, I mean, like, for me, that's just who I am. But you don't need to be me on Instagram. You need to be yourself. And if you try to be someone else, it's going to come off as inauthentic. So, of course, for me, I have to be my authentic self, and that is Dr. Smiley. It is a positive person, regardless of what's going in my life. I stay positive. But yeah, the key is just to be yourself. I know other you kind of get your little packet of chiropractors that are on Instagram that become friends, and they're from all over the world, and it's really cool. But there's some that I follow that I love, and some really take, a humorous approach to their videos, and I love their videos. They're so funny. Some really focus in on their stretches and exercises. I find those really valuable. And so you can do what you're the best at. Yeah. And that's what's great about chiropractic, is showcase who you are. There's some personalities that are shy and reserved and not super smiley on Instagram, but they have great value. And people, I think, love those people just as much, as long as they are interacting with their audience and their audience is able to connect with them.
That is awesome. Now, what I know is that in addition to building your patient client base, members, whatever you refer to them as, you're also getting more and more chiropractors saying, hey, how do I do what you do? And you're going to start mentoring other chiropractors to do what you do. Let me, ask you, let's get the cat out of the bag. What would be maybe some of the first tips if somebody is thinking about doing this? Would you recommend that they do it? And if so, what would you recommend that they do to sort of get going, get started and then start building?
Yeah. So the first advice I would give would be to create your own page, not your clinic's page. So I have both. But again, people want to go to someone they know. And your clinic's page is to focus on chiropractic and what's going on in your practice. My page is Dr. Kristen Hammer on Instagram, and it's Dr. Kristen Hammer. And so that would be my first piece of advice, would be to create a doctor page that is you, and separate from your clinic's page, so that they can know you. Of course, you're going to want to link your clinic in your page, so that when your followers do eventually want to come see you, they can easily find you. So you can link your website still. You can still link your other page in your Instagram for yourself. So I think that's step one, is get started. and create a page that is you, the doctor.
That's a great tactical tip. How do you think about stories versus posts? Do you segment them based upon content type? Do you drive one to the other? Stories versus posts? Have at it. What are your thoughts?
I love both. For me, and again, I think you can choose what you want to do with your page. For me, I focus my posts all about chiropractic for the most part. Once in a while, I will throw in an interest post. Like my followers know I love coffee. So once in a while, I'll throw something about like coffee in there, or my kids, because I have 2 little kids. So once in a while, I'll do a post with my kids. So I think that's what my posts are about, but mostly chiropractic. All the reels I do and things like that are always about chiropractic. Again, once in a while, I might do something about being a small business owner. I think people can relate to wanting to support small businesses. So that's always something you can leverage, is being a small business owner. And then my stories, I mean, everybody's look a little different. So again, you don't have to do what I do because I'm probably a little different than a lot of people on their stories, in that I think I'm like probably too open with my life on my stories. I probably post too much, but that's just me. And one piece of advice that I have for your stories is to post what you would be comfortable sharing with a stranger on an airplane. So for me, I'm Dr. Smiley. I'm super open. I'll tell you anything about my life. And so for me, I'm a little more open on my stories. Other chiropractors I know that have great followings strictly post about health, wellness, chiropractic. For me, my stories, I post what I'm doing, and I'll post about my kids, and I'll post about the self-care I did that day. And I'll even post, like, if I go out to the bar, I'll post some pictures with friends. And I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, that's why I really liked you, because you have the same interests I do. You are like me. I really like the person you are. And so I think that's kind of the key, because again, just being yourself. If that's who you are, if you like to have a drink on the weekends with friends and you're comfortable sharing that with a person on an airplane, then share it, So I think you just, there's a little professional boundary that you want to keep there. But again, this is your page. This is not my clinic's page. So that's, I think, what people like about this page. I don't think that my followers think I'm necessarily promoting my business. I think they think that I am Dr. Kristen and I'm sharing my life and I'm sharing some tips along the way. And I think that is really important and key to actually getting people to want to come in, is you should use this page not very salesy like you maybe would with a Facebook ad. I rarely ever place a call to action on this page, because I feel like when I would do that, if I do something like that, I'm going to lose some people's trust, because then I'm going to give them a red flag that I am doing this for their business instead of being their friend and somebody they want to, know. But that, again, is my philosophy on it. There's other chiropractors that certainly have different philosophies. And I know a lot of chiropractors will just post about health and wellness, and, they'll post like what smoothie they drank in the morning, and then they'll post themselves at the office, and this is in their stories. But of course, if you have no idea what we're talking about with stories and reels and all that stuff on Instagram, I'm here to help. So I can help through that. That's why I'm going to start mentoring. But it's not hard. We all can figure it out.
One of my favorite books is by Seth Godin, and it's called This is Marketing. And one of the most popular lines throughout the book is, people like us do things like this. And that sounds like exactly what you're doing. Is this is who I am. And if you're like me, these are the things that we do, whether it's going to the bar or getting adjusted or exercising or smiling with your kids or whatever it may be. So brilliant job. And you're not the only one thinking that way. For those that aren't as naturally inclined as you are, if somebody were to say, this is the irony, like people who say, well, I don't want to start going to a chiropractor because once you start, you got to keep on going. The same principle sort of applies here. Like, wow, I'm just afraid this is going to take over my entire life. Like, I don't want to have to post, what I had for breakfast, what I had for lunch, what I had for dinner. Does it have to take over your entire life? Do you have to have a phone in your hand all the time? Or, is there a way to sort of segment it so that you can be efficient in what you're wanting to accomplish without it basically seeping into every moment of every day?
Yeah, absolutely not. Not everybody has to be like me. But I do it because that's the person I am. For example, when I was in high school, I had a 300-page photo album for every year of high school. So I just love photos. I love taking pictures. That's just who I am. But absolutely not. Again, there's a lot of chiropractors that don't post as often. But I do think you want to be consistent. So that's the key. If you want people to start following you, you have to be consistent. So what that means, and what I would suggest is 10 minutes a day to work on your following and work on your page, at least to start. I mean, I definitely don't have to do it as much anymore. Yeah. And stories, I mean, it's a lot easier than you think. You pull out your phone and you snap a picture of what you're doing. It's not as hard as you think. It takes 2 seconds to post it and you're done.
Yeah, consistency is the key to success. We talk about that consistently across this show and across the Smart Chiropractor. Kristen, you're a fantastic example of using the platform for good, using the platform for the benefit of your practice, but an indirect benefit. The primary benefit is the education value, entertainment that you deliver to your followers, and you do it consistently. So absolutely fantastic. Give a shout out, docs out there. Where can they connect with you? Where can they follow?
Yeah, so the Instagram name is Dr. Kristen Hammer, really easy. So Kristin, and then hammer like the tool.
Easy enough. Kristen, you've been fantastic. Thanks for taking some time out of your day and coming on with chatting with us. We're going to encourage everybody listening and watching, head over, follow along, and we'll be seeing you very soon. Have a great day, Kristen.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. That was our interview with Dr. Kristen Hammer. Check her out on Instagram. Great example of somebody who shows up each and every day, teaches and invites consistently. And if you have been thinking about getting started on social, the time was last year. The time was yesterday. The time is today. Don't put it off any longer. It is pretty much, in my opinion, unless you are sailing into the sunset of your practice, it's a necessity. And if you are looking at what docs are doing and you're thinking, get off my lawn, show your own lawn. Get out there and create your own content. Let's see what you have to do. It is a very, there's a lot of meritocracy out there. So get out there. If you are producing content that people are engaged with and like consuming, you're going to see the growth. Doesn't happen overnight. Doesn't happen with one post. That's what we're trying to showcase by highlighting some of the docs at varying stages. Kristen is multi-thousand follower, but she's not 10,000, 25,000 yet, but she will be, because she's doing all of the things to get there. We're going to have other guests coming up on subsequent interviews that have hundreds of thousands and millions, yes, I said millions, of followers across their social channels. So a lot to learn from, a lot to just explore in terms of how are somebody who is a content creator thinking about it. Jason and I have been content creators so long. TikTok and Instagram didn't even exist back when we started. But there are docs doing fantastic things today. I love chatting with them. I know you're having a good time with it as well, Jason.
I think it's phenomenal. I have 2 comments on it. One is, Kristen plays to her strengths. She knows her strengths. She's, knows what she likes to do, knows what she's good at, and she does it. That is the name of the game. Not every chiropractor has to follow the formula beyond the formula being express yourself, express your uniqueness. If you're photogenic, if you have a specific skill set or talent or thing you like to talk about, you do you. That's the point. The second point I want to make is, you touched on this, Jeff, and almost, maybe every, but I'll just pre-qualify by saying almost every chiropractor I speak to has the common feeling that it's the vocal few that tend to make the most noise and therefore direct people's perception about what chiropractic is and what it isn't. And Jeff used the term meritocracy. What that really means is, wait a minute, we have just as much opportunity to be the vocal few and direct the conversation. And if we're not, and not enough of us are, then it's really difficult to be upset that a few people do take action and share their feelings, even though they may be different than your feelings. So that's the goal. That's the key. Let's think bigger than just our survival and immediate needs. I need more new patients now. Oh, wait, that's not going to get me new patients now. I can't focus on it because I'm so desperate to need new patients now. Well, that will put us in, guess what? The situation we're in right now, which is people are very confused about what chiropractic is, probably don't really know what you do in your practice. I bet you a lot of people in your practice don't really know what you really do in your practice. So you're on the treadmill of always needing more new patients. What does that mean? That means proliferating the insanity that the only people you're speaking to are those people in pain, ready to say yes now, sometimes with third-party reimbursement, because that's the fastest way to immediate gratification. And I'm not sure anything long-term benefits by focusing on immediate gratification only. Not to say there's not a reality to it, of course there is. But unless you think long-term, unless you take these ideas and implement them with a long-term consciousness, we will be stuck in the same insane merry-go-round that this profession has been on, maybe your practice has been on. When people come in exclusively in pain, looking for pain relief, one of two things happen. They get better and leave. They don't get better and leave, leaving you the pain of constantly needing more new patients. We think that's crazy. So think about another way. I think what she's doing is phenomenal. Not everybody has to look at it and go, well, that's the way I would do it. No problem. That's not the way you have to do it. You have to do it your way, just like she's doing it her way. So great job, great focus, terrific interview.
I couldn't agree more. If you haven't checked out all of our interviews, head over to YouTube. We have this playlist set up with all of our interviews stacked, and be on the lookout for Interviews by the Smart Chiropractor, our podcast featuring and focusing on each and every interview we have on this show each and every week. Thank you so much for watching this video on the Smart Chiropractor. To not miss a single thing that's clinically oriented, marketing oriented, or more, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel today.